Hey guys, it is Chad here from the Battle Warrior Podcast, and I'm just letting all you listeners know that the Battle Warrior Podcast episodes will be available across all podcast platforms, guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this brand new episode today. Hey guys, welcome to the Battle Warrior Podcast. We have Vogt on the other line here, guys. She is #1 bestseller, Wake Up and Live, the ultimate guide to self-discovery, guys. And we're going to be talking about the book. We're going to be talking about life. We're going to talk about whatever. Like I said at the other end, like before we're doing this, I said, theme for me is just called Wake Up, Motherfucker. That's all it says on the bottom.
Yeah. Hello. How is everybody? This is awesome. I'm super excited to you have me on tonight. I love it.
Yeah, we were fighting for what, a month trying to get each other on?
Yeah, pretty much back and forth. And then it was like, I can do this at 11 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, no.
Much conversation at 6 o'clock in the morning though.
Oh man, you want to know, like my crazy sleep, my average sleeping schedule right now is wake up at 10 to 4, go all the way to till work till about 2:30, go work out to about 4:30, and then by the time I do everything plus the book launch stuff, plus the book signings, all that stuff, podcast editing, class, whatever the hell's on my plate, and a relationship.
So you pretty much are up all night is what you're saying. You get like 2 hours of sleep.
I pretty much lay my head down at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I wake back up at 4, if not some days midnight.
Yeah. So like a 5-6 hour, truly I highly function on 5 to 6 hours of sleep. I know it sounds crazy. So, I get up at about 6 o'clock, but I'm up until, I don't know, midnight, almost 1 o'clock in the morning, just messing around with something. I discovered my most productive times in my day when my brain works the best. So I stay up.
And for me, I had that too, because I used to work second shift where I'm at. And for my favorite time, honestly, was getting back from work at about 10:30, settling down. So about
at night. Yeah.
10:30 to about 1:30 in the morning. I was just crushing shit left and right.
I get a recharge. It's like, right around lunchtime, it's like 3 hours is like my most productive, creative time of the day. And then, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, it's like recharge. Here she is. Let's go. When you're supposed to be winding down, I just get back up.
I'm laughing because me and you are the same way. We're both kind of wired, hyperactive, and whatever the terms we call it, ADHD. I don't even want to call it that label. I just highly active brain, and we just accomplish stuff.
Agreed. 100%. Here's a question for you. Are you a napper?
No, but the other half is.
I knew you were going to say no. Because a nap to me is like anywhere from 7 to 15 minutes. Anything over that is considered sleep. Like my ex was he called it napping, but it was sleeping. And he would nap for the majority of his weekend. It was ridiculous.
No, if I'm super extremely tired, it'll be like a 10-minute cat nap. So like I'll be in the parking lot, shut my eyes for like 5 minutes, boom, and then I wake back up. Ideally, though, like
crazy one that naps in parking lots.
I try, if I need a nap, I will park in a Walmart and take a 5-minute nap.
I've done it for sure. Absolutely.
I live off of caffeine. So like by the time I hit 9:30 in the morning, I almost have a pot of coffee in me, probably about 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then after I get done with work, I hit my pre-workout, and I'm gonna plug my own stuff. But I'll hit my pre-workout at about 3. And then I'm pretty much wired until 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. I actually want to know more about your your stuff and your pre-workout, because I was checking it out on your page the other day. I mean, I'm always looking to like switch something up and try something new. I'm happy with, what I have now, but like I'm all about. I was like, I need to order. I should order Chad's. That's what I need to do.
And we just go down it because we're on this avenue right now. You know how a different industry that is. So like when we're in a workout, and I'm just gonna go down this way. So like we're in a gym, everyone's first form, Total War, all those the name mainstream brands, and all of a sudden now it's like, obviously I bought into this October.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much of a gray area this stuff is, and how much of a different industry is versus like the first forms. Because like the first form was designed with, he had all this stuff prior, and I don't know if you paid attention to Andy or not, but like
use first form.
Yeah.
Like that was probably what I started really seriously using for a while.
Did you do 75 hard before?
I have. Wait, is that the green one?
No, it's that 75-day program where you work out twice.
Oh, no. 75 hard. No, I have not done that.
Okay, so what I've just been learning,
I can't. You guys are crazy that do it. I know all about it. I have the book. Like you guys are nuts. It's like, you know why I would never do it? Because you have to work out. One of your workouts has to be outside. I live in Pittsburgh. It can be -10 degrees. It can be snowing. It can be raining. And that's a requirement for the 75-day. And I know myself, if it was 10 degrees or it was raining, I'd be like, hell to the motherfucking no. I am not working outside.
I'm in Green Bay. So pretty much I'm 30 minutes south of Green Bay is where I'm at. And I think it went 55 last week to 5 below this week, and I think it's go back up to 50 next week.
Oh my God, we're literally on the same page. It's been 70, snowing, and yeah, it's crazy. But I feel like that's a mind game. Like that, the 75 hard, how with the outside and the terrain, and no matter it just trains your mind. I feel on this, like what that is more about, truly. Do you think?
Yeah. And the thing that I was going to get at is, the more you listen to first form, it's just more Andy, and I'm going to say Andy, but like first form is on the mindset. Like he took that mindset and he packaged it into a program, into, supplements and all that stuff, versus like when we're going to use, Total War, for example, where it's like Total War tapped into the bodybuilders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like these guys are sitting in a niche. So it's like you have this very fresh supplement company. And obviously, I have the addiction background with working with addiction stuff. It takes a lot of thinking to figure out where you're going to sit in a little groove and say, okay, this is my spot. Y'all get out.
Right. I absolutely 100% agree with that. It's like literally trying to find like where your groove is, where your niche is, like who do you want to target? Like who's your like your target audience that you think is going to buy into it the most. And I mean, that's that. I get that for sure.
And well, we can explain that on that, but I was going to say that swings right in your book, because your target audience is you to a T.
Right. Yeah. I feel pretty blessed that my target audience, I feel like, is pretty large. In a sense, from low 20s to 40s, it is my target, I would say. But I've had people that I've connected with on many different ages, but and then it's like narrowing down. It's like, okay, here's my target audience. Like what is resonating with people the most? Like out of all my chapters in my book and everything that I say and I talk about, or what I post, like what is getting the most, like what are people wanting to hear? What is sparking with somebody? And for me, what I found is it's people love the transformation story. They love seeing somebody that, I lost 75 pounds and totally did that by changing my mindset and number one, and then it went from everything else, and to eating, to working out, and it from there. And then my other huge part that always gets chimed in is when I'm real, you know, when it's like the real talk, when it's, I post a picture in messy gym hair with chipped nails and I'm like, hey, you know, like I got a pile full of socks and my laundry is like heaping over just like everybody else, but like I'm still out here fucking trying. And, you know, that clicks with so many people because it is the fucking truth. It's, you know, and it's the real, the struggle was real for real.
Well, and this, I'm gonna tag in exactly what me and you were talking about last week Wednesday on that call, because I'm starting to discover where my target audience are just from, and I don't know if you ever heard that conversation, but someone was talking about target audience, and then I'm like, well, obviously, you know, my girlfriend's introduced me to more people down in her town, which is great. But we were just sitting there. She's like, hey, go talk to this guy. I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm like, wait a minute, is it a black hat, black shirt? You know,
oh yeah,
wearing a dude with tattoos. She's like, yeah.
For this.
You're like all black everything.
Like that is your style that you're on right now too. That's your vibe you're on.
Oh, and honestly, like for me, I don't even give a shit what color it is. I'm the most comfortable in black. And funny thing is I actually got new gear coming in and I'm gonna be ordering them. I never owned a black pair of jeans in my life that I wore every day. And I'm going to use the ones that I have and convert it to black. But that Sean Whalen Lions Not Cheap vibe. Like the Andy vibe where it's just like these guys just put on these hoodies and they're in black, they're in white. They just don't give a shit. I mean, they care, but they're like, hey, this is me. Come get me.
Right. Exactly. I love it, you know, and it's like, it's, you know, I feel the same way. Like the majority of my closet is probably a lot, you know, a lot of black. And I roll around in sweaty gym clothes, you know, the 50% of my week. And then the other 50% is work. So it's like, I have like no happy medium. I'm either like dressed up or I'm smelly and looking like, you know, not necessarily always stinky, but maybe.
Yeah. And I had that transformation here a month ago when I left a certain office complex that we had in town here. And I was in there, I was having a blast. I was being myself. And it just seemed like I was kind of fighting the current a little bit. It's not a culture, like the culture was there, but like the current. So like just the feeling of the people that were coming in and all that stuff. And I decided to part ways. I'm like, something doesn't, you know, feel right. Like people, right. I know they're awesome. Like there's no bad harm feelings, nothing whatsoever with it. But the vibe of me being that, I don't want to say that outlier, but it just didn't feel right. And all of a sudden now I left there and the weight got lifted and I'm just being me, being myself. And you're noticing that.
That's exactly it. Like, you know what I mean? And I love that you just said that, like, because I feel the same way. It's like the weight came off and I'm just me, like, period. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want, you know, and it's actually like a really amazing feeling.
No sugarcoat and no filter, just bring it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I feel that.
I was going to say, you're my Pittsburgh female version of me.
No, for real.
Except I'm green and gold instead of black and yellow, but I did grow up in a black and yellow house. So I totally get it.
Oh, got you. You know, it's actually crazy. I probably shouldn't admit this, but growing up, my family, we did not watch any sports at all. My dad raced cars. He still races cars, sprint cars. My brother raced and rode freestyle, like motocross. And then my son. So it's sports weren't introduced for like a long time. You know, we were always at racetracks.
Well, and living the better life, I'll just say it that way. It's such a freedom, and I want to get back into not racing. I did fishing tournaments, but it's pretty much like the same racing atmosphere where you have like takeoff, where you're going down a lake with 80 boats next to you, going crazy, going airborne, all that stuff, and then coming back, and the mindset is just gone. So like I miss competing in that stuff, and I wish I would have a race back in the day. I never had a chance to do it.
Yeah.
My uncle raced boats. So like those 12-foot boats that were being in the ponds, he flipped them. Yeah.
Oh, He flipped them, you said?
Yeah, he raced them, and then he got in a wicked crash where he flipped one a few times, and that was done. Because back then they didn't have prop covers on them,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't get it really major, but it caught him on a backswing.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. I've watched boat race, and I've always said to myself every time I've seen one, I would be like, I would never be in a passenger seat on one. Like, it's terrifying. It's scary.
So how are you gonna? And I'm gonna ask this: how are you gonna be watching your kids if they race?
So I can watch races, but it's the water. It's like the water aspect. When you add that, that's what scares me. That's what puts me over the edge. But you know, with my kids, like on dirt bikes and BMX and racing like that, I don't know. I'm pretty level head about it. Even, I've followed my brother around for years. He was in the Nitro Circus and did freestyle, and it was, people would ask me that all the time. They're like, how do you watch your brother do flips in the air? And I'm just, you get used to it.
He fell again. He's good. Get back up.
Yeah, he just is going to get back up.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing I was going to ask you about too, because I know he gets a rush from doing that stuff when he races. You just get in the zone. When you launched your book, I had this crazy rush going. How was your 2-3 weeks?
Well, if I'm being really honest with you right now, it was a fucking roller coaster of emotions, up and down. I went from the text from Mike that was like, okay, we're on Amazon. And I just started, telling everybody in my, in my phone. And it was like this high, and we're celebrating. And like, people are messaging me with like, oh my gosh, pictures of your book. I just bought this. This is so awesome. And then I get the message of my ex's now fiance. Okay. With this terrible review that, she just is, she's a terrible character, so then that was like a low, and then, and then we're like back up in highs. And then it takes a tough skin, honestly, and do you kind of feel this way, like with the release of my book and my story and everything being out there? A lot of people don't necessarily have filters, and they're like, oh well shit, she just put her whole life out there. I can now ask her anything, and I can say anything, and it doesn't matter. That, you know what I mean? So that's there. I definitely had some tough critics,
Mine. Oh, okay, so my official release is this weekend, but they've been out for 3 weeks. I haven't, as we speak right now, I think I've had 1 or 2 people that read 3/4 way through it. Like, I don't think, I think people are just starting to wrap up reading it pretty much now. I actually toned down. I added a lot more in, and I had to tone it back because it wouldn't do justice to how some of the stories were. So like, and how you were writing it, like when you're writing it on this, you can be neutral. So it depends on the tone. So like my tone, I looked at my addiction recovery and all that stuff. The stories and stuff I could put in there would be like an everyday life to us. And in the hindsight, it would make us look super extremely terrible. So like all the high school stuff, so me doing road life, doing tournament fishing on the road, doing shows, doing all the parties in high school, all that stuff. Like I could write probably 3 books on that stuff.
Oh my gosh, I know. People were actually asking me. It was, when before they knew what was in there. I think people were like, there were some of my friends from in my 20s that were like, oh, am I in there? What did you write? And it's like, this is not a book about partying. This is not a book about all, of our past crazy trips. I mean, there are some funny stories in there, but I mean, for me, truthfully, it was about my transformation period, and it was about my growth, and it was about experiencing all of that. And it was a self-reflection on myself, truly. And like, how I changed and how I hurdled the things that I hurdled. And it was like the real talk that was going on in my head. And, I tried to I kept it real and I was vulnerable, but like I also kept it almost at a really safe spot.
Yeah, neutral, like a neutral spot.
Right.
And the thing that even like for me, people ask straight out, like the people super close to me, and like I kept it quiet. I think you knew about it before. I think there were 6 or 7 of us that knew before it released. It was you,
right.
Mike, a few people from the inner circle, a few people from Great American Summit, a few people, my friends. If I knew you're not going to, if I knew you're going to bad talk it, I would not tell you.
Yeah. And here's my thing with it though. And this is how I hurdled it, because, there's always going to be haters and there's always be critics, and my haters still bought my book. So thank you very much for spoiling it. Okay. Because for you to leave a review, you had to buy it. So thank you. And the good always outweighs the bad. Yeah. I knew what I did. I knew what I was proud of. And I just said, fuck the hate, and my brother, he actually, cause I was, for a minute, I was down on myself, and my brother told me this story about, I think it was Eazy-E, released an album and they were like fighting with somebody, you know what I mean? And,
and
were buying his records to break them and like burn them, and my brother's like, but he got rich. And it's like, hey, it's not saying people are buying my books to burn them. but I mean, I'm just saying, like, I didn't let it in. I didn't let it bother me. And, so there is so many more absolute great stories, but it's insane that, we hone in sometimes on the 1 or 2.
Yeah. And in my mind, how you're talking, it's probably the same feeling I have, where it's like, this is not a one and done.
Right. Mike warned me. So Mike warned me at the beginning of this. He said, there are going to be that you are going to experience, some of this. And then when he kind of like saw it, because it was pretty ugly from that side, my ex's, or whatever her name is. And Mike calls me and he's like, listen, he's like, I have never seen so much hate on one person. He's like, but I also have never seen so many books sold in like a quick amount of time, like in a day either. You know what I mean? He's like, you're about to hit bestseller like tonight. And I'm like, what? I was like, get out of here. And yeah, a few hours later, he called me back and he's like, not only did you just hit bestseller, but you hit the #1 new release on Amazon too. And so it was a ride. It was a rush. It was a mental game, but it was awesome. I mean, it's everything is happening how it was planned to happen.
And both of us can say Amazon bestseller or Amazon new release bestseller. Yeah.
I saw that on yours too. Absolutely.
Okay. Now I'm gonna tag this a little bit. I know I went through a different company. As a friend going against friends, I am a little competitive, and I'm like, come on, guys, more. but it is what it is. Like my chance will come when it comes, and it could hit #1 next week. I have no clue. That's just how it is. But yeah, no, like watching the ride of the wave of all the #1s coming from a certain individual that is the mastermind of everything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, he's getting one of mine. He's getting one of mine.
Right.
And yeah. it is what it is. And I'm having a blast playing this. I don't want to say game. It's a game when it comes to like up and down the charts and stuff. There's analytics behind the scenes with it, but I'm having a blast. And there's a little inner competitive that it's like, I need to go join my friends. I need to go join my friends in the #1 club.
Right.
But it'll come.
It'll come. I mean, I think that's amazing. Like that you did too. Your book looks awesome. I was checking it out. I was actually, I was creeping on your page last night because I was like, well, I got to brush up on, like get in the know with Chad, see what's going on with him. And so I'm like reading like all of your races that you have coming up. And I was like, holy shit, this dude's an animal.
I can't sit still. I'm at so last year last year from Memorial Day to November 6th, it was a 5K, and then I got the bug. Then I took the summer off, but I knew I was running a half in the fall. So like I was already training for the half in the summer. And then within like 6 weeks, I did a half marathon, 15K, and a 10K and jacked up my knee.
Oh.
So that's the reason why, like you see on my notes where it's like, hey, coming into winter with the bruised meniscus,
Right.
I actually started from scratch. So like we're at the YMCA where we have a track, but like that first week I ran 2 laps, the next day 2 laps. Like I went back to like basics. And
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, okay, I need to sweep my leg and just the little minor stuff of not having the fatigue kick in.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm back up to, I think I'm 1.75 miles a day, but I have enough gas to go out. And if I want to do a 3-mile run, I can do a 3-mile run. But it's, I did all the running last year, and a friend of mine invited me to like that Tough Mudder type winter race down by Chicago. I got the
Mm-hmm.
bug. I looked at her. I'm like, we're done. So we're gonna do I'm gonna do the terrain race, which is not it's an off branch of the Tough Mudder. I don't want to say off branch. It's their own little qualification style of that cross intertwining race. I don't even know what category we put them in, but I'm gonna be doing 2 of them. I'm gonna be doing a full marathon. There's a 10K in November I'm gonna do again. I guarantee there's more that are gonna be coming. But right now my main focus is to get in a booth for a train race and see if I can put some flags up.
Oh yeah. That's some like really great goals.
And for me, just like, you're probably real patient. I'm not a real patient person. I'm like, not say it's the old like lawyer thing back in the day where it's like, I want my money, I want it now, but it's the impatient of I'm patient for what it is, but I'm impatient because I'm used to being in sales where it's like, let's just go get it accomplished. And that's the thing I learned with running and working out. It's like, let's just get that goal accomplished. Then you can go to the next one. So my impatience is coming in of saying, I have these dates. I know it's there, but like my mind's like, let's just get that done.
Right. I get that. I feel like after with the release of my book, there's I have so many different things and avenues I want to take it, and different ideas. I actually am going to start my own podcast soon. The end of this month is my goal, and you are going to be one of my guests on it. I recorded my first episode last night, and my 2 guests were my boys. And, it sounds like it was a crazy shit show, but it truly was not. I mean, I'm going to add to it and edit it out. But, there was a message there, and it was, we actually had a conversation with a 6 and a 9-year-old about fear and, about, them riding their bikes, like racing their bikes and like, being scared. And it's like, so it was a really cool conversation. And we wrapped it up last night, and I was like, okay, this is, I like this. This is a really, this is the next step that I feel like I have to do. But you said I was sitting on it for, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm very impatient too. Everyone's like, oh, you give yourself grace. You just wrote and published a book in a year. You did this and you did this and you did this. And it's like, yeah, but I want more. Why do I have to stop? Like, give me something else.
Yeah, I hear that talk in the background, like, oh my God, are you done? Are you going to take? I am going to take. I'm taking this weekend off because it's my birthday tomorrow.
Oh, birthday.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to have a nice down day tomorrow. I'm still going to do like the release in the morning. Just a little PR work for that, but I'm going to enjoy Friday and Saturday down. Sunday, I will start prepping for the week. But for me, I don't know if you get this, and I'm going to ask you this question. Mm-hmm. People go on vacations to recharge. It's almost like you give me 4 or 5 hour block of just kind of like slowing down. I will be good for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or like an off day.
100%. A whole week where people go on vacation for a recharge for me is like, I can't, even when I do go on vacation or I take work with me, or I take things that I want to do. But absolutely, I actually had to I had to get my mind right this past week. There's in trying to figure out my next step and my next plan. And I gave myself a day. I gave myself a day. I didn't go to the gym. I door dashed all day. I stayed in my sweatpants, and I recharged, and I allowed myself time to think and receive what I needed. And yeah.
So who came and designed your pictures for all the books and that sassiness? I'm gonna say sassy. It's like, you're like me. You have attitude in those pictures. Like me and you do not like hide it.
Right. That was all me. I mean, I had a whole vibe I had a whole vibe from the start to the finish of it. I found the place in Pittsburgh where I wanted the pictures to be taken. I put my outfits together. I had outfit changes. And I did. I obviously submitted like 3 pictures, and I let them pick the best picture that they wanted. And, they obviously helped me create the cover, the Dream Starters. So, I mean, that was great, but like, no, it was my vibe, like all the way. Like, I want my book, the cover of my book, to like reflect me. Like, I want somebody to see my book and like, I mean, I have attitude, but like I'm smart, and I'm funny, and I'm kind, and it's like all these things too. And it's like, don't hold anything back. And I felt like my picture showed that.
Oh, and yeah, it showed. It's like my words coming out and exactly how I started this podcast. I looked at it, and then exactly out of my mouth was, "Wake up, motherfucker, let's go."
Right. Yeah. It's like, I want to, you see the book and you're like, I want to hear what this girl has to say,
Yeah. And you pretty much picked that, God, there's one word, money boss. I have a friend up in Connecticut that's got a little bad boss mom. I don't know, but I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, yeah, it's attitude all in there. It's the don't mess with me. I'm the premier in the industry. Like, not look at what I did, because it's not that, but like, I know who I am. Let's go grab life by the balls.
And absolutely. And it's, for sure. And I think I've always been a people person, even when I was, and I consider myself a humble person, and I consider myself a great friend and an honest person. And even 75 pounds heavier, like I was still that person. And, a lot of, people have said like, oh my gosh, like, Anne, like, I can't believe you lost all that weight. Like, wow, you look so great. Like, and so many people have said to me, they're like, I never saw you as heavy as you were, because it just wasn't, like, cause I only saw you as you, and you've always been this in your face, confident, here I am, take it or fucking leave it. You've always been that person at any size. And truly, I feel like I'm shining. And I feel like my cover of my book, reflects that. And I think when people shine, and when, it sparks interest to other people too, because it's like, it just feels good. It's like looking at the fucking sun, or like a diamond, like, shit, that feels good. I want to look at it, so.
Yeah. and all the bullshit that we went through prior to make ourselves a best-selling author is insane, because like, we had to do that to make that diamond.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't regret any of my struggles. I don't regret any part of my story. It's mine. Like, even in the things, I can look back and be like, oh, I could have done this better, or I wish I would have done this better. It's like, what I took from that is I learned from that, and I'm growing from that, like, every single day. So I kind of got wrapped up in that last part of it too.
What we'll do is, since we're both misfiring and having we're getting to the end of the nights here, guys. She's an hour ahead of me just because she's in Pittsburgh. But tell all my listeners where we can find it, and then where we can find your book, find your own self on social media, fire away and give your toot moments or whatever. Brag your shit, girl.
All right. So, as you know, my name is Ann Jones Vogt. My book is called Wake Up and Live, The Ultimate Guide to Self-Discovery. So my ass is going to be all over the place. But I'm telling you right now. So find me on the gram. It's Ann Jones Vogt _76. I hope that's what it is. Or I'm on Facebook as Ann Jones. And I have an official Instagram page at Ann Jones, the author.
All right, we're gonna end the show here, and I'm gonna stop recording. Then we could chit chat a little bit.